Horror movies are fun to watch, and deep down we all have a desire to see monsters. Luckily, movie creatures come in all shapes and sizes, and they've been scaring us since the beginning of film. Sometimes they're done with computer graphics, other times with practical effects. And almost all of them can be terrifying to look at. But in my opinion, the ones that scare the most are the ones you can't see. The ones that stay hidden, waiting in the dark, ready to jump out at you. Those types of evil speak to our fears the most. When you know something is there, looking at you, but you can't see it. That is when our imagination runs wild. So here's a short list of the scariest movie monsters that like to stay hidden from the camera. Number 1. The Witch, the Blair Witch Project. This was one of the first successful found footage horror movies and a great example of an unseen evil. The story is about a group of filmmakers who go into the woods to make a documentary about an urban myth, the Blair Witch. What made it so scary is we only see the creepy stuff that happens to the 3 people in the movie. The fact that they don't know what's out there and we never get to see it fuels our imagination. And it only becomes stronger as we see the heroes in the story gradually get more and more terrified. Until the very ending, the evil in this movie is open to interpretation. Number 2. The Werewolf, an American werewolf in London. The title of the movie says it all. A young American man is backpacking through England. He gets bitten by a werewolf and starts turning into a werewolf himself. This horror classic was directed by John Landis, and the legendary Rick Baker did the special effects.
Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker.
No, not that one. This one. And other than a very gripping transformation scene, we never see the entire werewolf. This makes the action in the movie even scarier. And it's this subway scene that has haunted my nightmares as a kid. Number 3. It Follows. This was one of my favorite movies of 2014. It Follows is about a demonic entity that has no backstory. For reasons unknown, the creature is sexually transmitted. It'll start following you until it kills you. One of the great things about this creature is that it hides in plain sight by disguising itself as a person. The mystery around this demon and the fact that it never shows its true form is something I found absolutely terrifying. Number 4. The Xenomorph, Alien. The original Alien movie from 1979, directed by Ridley Scott, is until this day a masterpiece. No matter how many times I see it, it scares me every single time. The most important thing about this film that all the other sequels don't have is that the alien, the Xenomorph, is hardly ever on screen. And when it does appear, it makes so much more impact than when you've seen the creature from the beginning.
I always felt keep it really tight and only see the bits you want to see. Because this is always stronger than anything else. So if you think you've seen something, it's always going to be probably more horrific and horrifying.
The Alien was designed by H.R. Giger, who was a master in creating outlandish looking art. This, in combination with the claustrophobic vacuum of space, makes the Xenomorph one of the scariest movie monsters of all time. Number 5. The Great White Shark. Jaws. The movie that started the summer blockbuster phenomenon. Directed by Steven Spielberg, Jaws kept the whole generation out of the water, including me. The movie is about a great white shark that's terrorizing a small island community. Spielberg had an animatronic shark made, and what's pretty amazing about this film is that he intended to use the shark a lot more. But it broke down at the beginning of shooting, and broke down many times after that, so he decided to go a different way.
I promise you that if the shark had been working that first day, and Chrissy Watkins had been taken in that first scene, and the way my storyboards had, I had a fin in that shot, I had a conical nose coming out of the water, never seen the whole shark, I had a tail. Had there been any evidence of the shark, I promise you the audience wouldn't have leapt 3 feet out of their seats and thrown their popcorn into the air when the shark came out when Roy Scheider was chumming. You wouldn't have had that shock had the shark been used too often and too clearly before that.
This turned out to be a genius move. Another thing that made it so unique is that it has its own score. So when you hear the music from John Williams, without even seeing the shark, you know it's time to get out of the water. With the technology today, we can create some really scary creatures with CGI, but I really hope they'll keep making monsters that leave a little something to the imagination. Until next time.